It's time for some new shortcuts you've never seen before. If you don't know where to get coffee, here's a randomizer that chooses from your favorites. Automatically send reminder texts to people in your calendar events. Sort photos into album by focus mode. Grab the daily wallpaper from Bing. An incredible daily journal entry made by one of you. Just a couple Apple Intelligence shortcuts, and more. Most of today's shortcuts don't require Apple Intelligence, but get subscribed because once iOS 26 gets released this fall, there are some wild automations you can create, especially on the Mac. If you want a preview, check out my video here and linked in the description where I show how you can auto-sort files into folders automatically using Apple Intelligence and shortcuts. More automations like that coming soon, but let's get into this. First up, Scott from my shortcuts community wanted to be able to get a random coffee place, one of his favorites, and get directions automatically. So what I've done here is actually add location actions, and here you can search for your favorite coffee places. Let's choose one here, and then adding more is just as easy as duplicating that action, adding another coffee place, and then we're going to use the action I haven't talked a lot about before, but add to variable. What this does is it will add that location to a single variable, and you can see I'm adding it to the variable called coffee. Then you can add as many of your favorite locations as you would like, so I have 3 coffee shops here, and this is going to get a random coffee shop from that list, show it in quick view, and then open driving directions to that coffee place. So every time I run it, I'll be shown a different coffee place. Right now it says Hillcrest. I tap done, and it automatically opens maps with directions to that coffee place. If I run it again, I should likely get a different one. Now I have a different coffee shop. I'll hit done, and I get directions to that. So if you can't decide between your favorite places, just run this shortcut, and this will choose for you. So that first shortcut is to program your favorites. But if you just want to get a random coffee place, I'm going to put a link to this shortcut and all the others down in the description. But here it's going to find coffee places within 25 miles of your current location. It's going to choose a random one from that list, show you which one it chose, and then open directions to that coffee place. So if I run this shortcut, it's going to get all the coffee places in the area, choose a random one, show me the name of it before it opens directions. There it is. And once I tap OK, it's going to open maps to that random coffee place. This is great if you're traveling too and just want to find random coffee places in your area. Number 2, I think this is going to be useful for a lot of people. Someone in the community asked if they could automatically send reminder texts to their clients or people that they have appointments with the day before. So what this does is it actually looks at your calendar events for a specific calendar. So if you have a calendar that has like appointments, make sure you choose that calendar right here. Also, you'll need to have invitees in that calendar event in order for this to work. But this will take all the calendar events you have in the next day, and then with each calendar event, it's going to get the phone numbers from the event attendees, and then send that person a text automatically with the start time of the appointment. And then you can run this in a daily automation at say 6 p.m., and those reminder texts will automatically happen. So right now, I know I have an event for tomorrow at 9 a.m. And when I run this shortcut, it's actually going to show me the text message it'll send. And right there, see you at your appointment tomorrow on that date and at that time. Now, if you want this to run without any action on your part, just expand this action and then toggle off the show when run. And then this will run completely in the background and send those text messages for you automatically. Then you can do this in an automation. Just tap the plus icon in the automations tab. You can choose time of day. I would do something like 8 p.m. and it checks for appointments in the next 24 hours. You can run daily, run immediately, and then all you need to do is search for that automation. I'm calling it the appointment reminder shortcut. And now that shortcut's going to run every day without us having to do anything. Next, Jim from the community wanted to be able to make PDFs out of ChatGPT output. So you can do this just with a couple actions here in shortcuts. I have here just an example prompt and a ChatGPT action. And then after that, I have 2 actions. Make rich text from the ChatGPT output and make a PDF from that rich text. So when you run this, you should have a nicely formatted PDF of that ChatGPT response. And there's the PDF of the ChatGPT response formatted nicely. And then you can tap the share button or open it in a different app to save the PDF. You can also add a save file action at the end to just automatically save that PDF. Just change this prompt up at the top, or you can change this to an ask every time. So if I delete that text and just choose ask each time, now you can give it a different prompt every time you run the shortcut. Number 4, this was from a YouTube comment. Deliver Quality wanted to be able to sort photos by focus mode. Now, focus mode is not put into the photo metadata, so you can't do this after the fact. But you can have a shortcut that allows you to take a photo, gets your current focus mode, and then depending on the focus mode name, moves it into a specific album on your iPhone. So for instance, I'm in my focus mode right now. If I go to Control Center, you'll see I'm in my filming focus. And when I take a picture using the shortcut, it should automatically put it in my Wallpapers photo album. So I'll run the shortcut, you get to take a picture, I'll tap Use Photo, and without doing anything, it should be in my Wallpapers album. So let's take a look. Here's my iPhone Wallpapers album, and if I scroll all the way to the bottom, there's that random photo I just took. Then you can add more if statements for if name is, and then for whatever focus modes you want to use. Next, SPH Church wanted to be able to have a grocery list pop up when they're near their grocery store. Now this is going to be an automation, and I can share a link to this in the description, but it's pretty easy to set up. In the Automations tab, tap the plus icon, and then choose Arrive. So when you arrive at a location, you can choose any time and have this run immediately, and then for location, choose your grocery store. I'll choose one of my local Publixes here, and then you can even adjust the radius at which this automation will run. So if you want it to when you're just driving by on this road, expand that circle a little bit, tap Done. Now let's do a new blank automation, and depending on where you have your grocery list set, you could either have it open an app, or if you have your groceries in the Reminders app, let's look at our Reminders actions, and we can choose Open Reminders List, and then choose the reminders list you want to open. I have a groceries reminders list, so I'll choose that. And if you want, you can also add a Show Notification action, including playing a sound, and then you can change that notification to say, hey, get some groceries, and now when you're near that store, the reminders list will automatically open, and you'll see a notification with a sound to get some groceries. Now I have just 3 quick shortcuts that use Apple Intelligence. So I'm going to switch to my phone here with iOS 26. And the first one is to get the high temperature for the day and what hour that's going to occur. Now there's some built-in actions for like getting forecast and things like that, but it's actually hard to parse the exact hour of the highest temperature. So I'm using a free API here for the National Weather Service. And then there's actually an Apple Intelligence action at the end that's going to help format it. I have the Use Cloud model right here. So when I run this shortcut, I don't have to do anything. It's going to get all that information automatically, send it to Apple Intelligence to format, and then I get a notification right here. It says the highest temperature, it's going to be 94 degrees, and it's going to happen at 3 o'clock today. And you can have this automatically run in the morning, then you'll have a notification waiting for you to know when the highest temp will be and what hour. Next, I did an entire video on my SiriBot, but if you have any of the betas, which public betas are coming very soon on any of your devices, you can run my SiriBot shortcut. And this is basically a ChatGPT style chatbot, but only using Apple Intelligence models. And this can do general knowledge, it can do summarization, it can help you format some brainstorming, whatever you'd like. So you can ask it things like, give me a 1-paragraph summary of the fall of the Roman Empire. And that's going to send it strictly to Apple Intelligence. Now I have a 1-sentence summary of that. But one of the special things about my SiriBot is you can follow up with questions. It's going to save this entire conversation, and all your future requests are contextually aware. So I can choose to continue the conversation. I'll say yes, and then I'll ask it, write a 500-word blog post about this. And I can say this because it knows the context of the previous request, being the Roman Empire. So I don't have to specify that again. And that quickly, I have to say Apple Intelligence models work pretty fast. I have my blog post about that topic. Then I'll do one other thing, choose to continue the conversation, and now ask it, make 5 social media posts to promote this blog. And again, I can just say this blog because it's aware of the context of everything I've been talking about. And there I have some social media posts to promote this blog. SiriBot, it's actually really powerful, and the Apple Intelligence models are very fast. So you can download that shortcut and run it on any device you might be running a beta on right now. And one last shortcut, you can actually generate images using the Create Image action, including using ChatGPT image generation. So right here I have any style ChatGPT, and when you run this shortcut, it'll ask for a prompt. I put a little text here to ask for a photorealistic image. Of course, you could change this prompt or even change the style here if you want something in anime style. And you have multiple ChatGPT options here, and then it will show that image in Quick Look. So if I run this, I can say something like, well, as betas go, it's not working right now. Sometimes you have to restart your phone, but I'll still put a link to this so you could try it in the description below. All right, going back to regular shortcuts, no Apple Intelligence or betas required. This next request from the community was a viewer who likes to log when they start listening to an audiobook, what chapter they started with, and then log the ending. So this is a 2-shortcut process. So when you start listening to an audiobook, you can run this first shortcut. You put in the book title. I'll type in 4,000 weeks. You can say what chapter number you're starting with. I'll say 5. And then it's going to create an Apple Note with that information. The title of the book, the date that you're listening, the date and time you started. Now, once you're done listening, you can do log audiobook end. Then you can choose the note that was created previously, namely this one. You could say what chapter you ended on. I'll say 8. Tap done. If you want to type any reflections on that or something you learned, you can type it here, and then it will append that to the same note. So I can go to Apple Notes, and then you'll see the begin point and end point for listening to the audiobook. Next, JM in the community wanted to be able to save the daily Bing wallpaper. Apparently Bing has nice wallpapers that changes every day, and they make it so you have to download the app to get those Bing wallpapers. So I actually found a website that pulls the wallpaper image daily. And then what this does is it will save the image directly to the downloads folder on your phone. You can change that downloads folder if you would like, and it also tries to get the highest quality image. This part doesn't always work depending on how the URL is formatted, but it will always get at least the 800 wide pixel version. So if I run this shortcut, you'll get a little quick look of what that wallpaper looks like for today. Here's today's Bing wallpaper. It'll save it to my downloads folder, and it'll try to get the high quality, but again, sometimes it does that. But even if you see that error, you can go to the downloads folder on your iPhone or whatever device you ran, and the Bing wallpaper was saved right here. All right, Charles from the community writes his tasks down every weekend and wants to be able to keep track of them after he completes it. Well, what I have here is a shortcut that's going to make your handwritten tasks digital. It's going to start by taking a photo of whatever notebook or paper you wrote those tasks in. It's going to separate it and then create a list in reminders, specifically that says weekly tasks and today's date. And then every task is going to become a new reminder that you had written down. Then it's going to open that list. So I wrote down some tasks here using the pen I got at Apple Park. Sorry, I had to show that. Now, if I run this shortcut, I'm going to take a photo. I'll tap Use Photo. It's going to separate what I've written down into different tasks. I'll tap Always Allow. And here's our reminders list with the task that we had written on the paper. My handwriting was a little messy when I wrote shortcuts, so it misspelled that, but you see what I mean. And final shortcut, this was made by a member of my shortcuts community, which if you didn't know, you can join for free at create.beard.fm. You can join 1,600 other people who have joined my shortcuts community, but if you support the community with $5 a month, that actually supports me and the channel, and it's just me, there's no team behind it, then you get access to my priority shortcuts request, and I make sure to reply and answer every one of these and do my best to make the shortcuts. You can access my shortcuts GPT, which is one I've been training specifically to help with things like APIs using from the National Weather Service movie database, or helping with like match text commands. I would not be able to build some of the shortcuts I've been doing without my shortcuts GPT. I also share a shortcut of the week that I don't put in any of my videos, so you get special access to that, plus my shortcuts database where I upload all the shortcuts that I share in these videos, and then you can search and even browse by category all here. So I'd appreciate your support, and thank you to the over 370 of you who support the community. So again, you can join it at create.beard.fm, and that link is down in the description as well. And this shortcut was actually built by Christopher in the community. He built the Daily Notes journal entry shortcut, and this does things like gets today's weather, a quote, and he actually did an incredible job making this. He even pulls items from like Brainy Quote, and that's going to be a part of the journal entry. And if you want this shortcut link, join the community, go to Shortcuts Requests, and you can find the link on his post there. But when you run this shortcut, it also pulls things like what happened today in history, and that was the one thing he needed a little help on, so I changed the ChatGPT prompt a bit. Also gets things like the weather and your current location. And this is the note you end up with. It has today's date, the Brainy Quote, the weather. Anything that's in your events will appear here. Today in history shows you some events that happened on today's date. Also shares some prompts that you can use with ChatGPT, and these should be different every day. And even saves your current location where this journal entry was created. I love this shortcut. Kudos to Christopher for making it. So those were 12 new shortcuts, many requested by you and even built by you. Again, you can join my shortcuts community and find Christopher's shortcut at create.beard.fm, and I appreciate your support, $5 a month or $50 a year. If you have any questions or other shortcuts requests, leave them in the comments below this video. Several of the shortcuts I made were from your comments in last video, which I'll actually link that right here in case you missed it. And if you want to see all of the power of Apple Intelligence shortcuts, I have an early preview with the beta. You can watch that video here and get subscribed and hit that like button, because once the full release comes in September, we're going all out with automations on the Mac, files and folders, lots of Apple Intelligence shortcuts, and a ton more. Thanks so much for watching and supporting the channel. I'll catch you next time.